If you've been scrolling through endless specs sheets, watching side-by-side comparison videos, and still feel stuck wondering whether a 17-inch monster is worth the price tag, you're not alone. I've been in that exact spot, weighing a sleek 15-inch contender against a hulking 17-inch powerhouse, trying to figure out which one would actually fit into my daily routine and not just my gaming fantasies. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The ASUS ROG Strix SCAR 17 isn't just another high-end gaming laptop on paper, it's a piece of hardware that tries to bridge the gap between a desktop-level experience and the mobility you expect from a laptop. The first thing that trips a lot of buyers up is the sheer size. At 17.3 inches, you're looking at a chassis that's closer to a small desktop tower than a notebook you can comfortably tuck into a backpack. That means you need a dedicated gaming space, a desk that can handle its weight, and a power outlet you don't mind keeping plugged in for hours. If you've already accepted that trade-off, the rest of the package becomes a lot more interesting. Let's talk about why the display matters. The 360Hz FHD IPS panel is the headline grabber, and for a good reason. In fast-paced shooters like Call of Duty Warzone or Valorant, that refresh rate translates into noticeably smoother motion and less perceived blur, giving you a tiny but real edge in tracking enemies. In real-world use, I've seen the difference when playing at 240 frames per second. The mouse feels more responsive, and the visual jitter you get on a 144Hz screen disappears. It's not just about competitive advantage. Watching a high frame rate esports match on that screen feels remarkably immersive, with every explosion rendered crisply. The heart of the machine is the AMD Ryzen 9 5900HX paired with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080. That combination delivers what the marketing calls lightning-fast performance, and it shows up when you load a modern game that leans heavily on CPU threads, like Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing turned on. In my tests, load times dropped to under 10 seconds from SSD to game start, and the frame rates stayed comfortably above 100 frames per second at high settings. It also means you can stream while you play without dropping a beat. OBS ran smoothly, the GPU handled the encoding, and my internet upload stayed stable. For creators who edit footage on the go, the 1TB NVMe SSD provides enough space for several large game installations and raw video files, while the 16GB of DDR4 RAM keeps multitasking fluid. Now, the cooling system is where ASUS tries to earn its intelligent badge. The laptop uses a dual-fan setup with multiple heat pipes that you'll hear spin up under load. In practice, the fans get audible, but they keep temperatures in the mid-70s Celsius range during a marathon gaming session, which is respectable for a laptop of this size. The downside is that the fans can become a distraction during quieter moments, like cutscenes or when you're just browsing. If you're sensitive to noise, that's a factor to weigh. One of the more subtle strengths is the perky RGB Opti-Mechanical Keyboard. The keys have a short travel distance that mimics a mechanical feel without the loud click, and the perky lighting can be synced with game profiles. For competitive players who rely on visual cues, having a distinct color for WASD versus the rest of the keys can improve muscle memory under pressure. It's also a nice aesthetic touch if you stream and want a backdrop that looks polished. On the flip side, the battery life is where the SCAR 17 shows its limits. With a 90 battery, you're still looking at roughly 2 to 3 hours of mixed usage before you need to plug back in, and that drops to an hour if you're gaming at max settings. That's typical for a laptop with a 3080, but it means the device is really built for a plugged-in gaming station rather than on Thego sessions. If you travel often or want to game in a coffee shop, you'll need to bring the charger and accept that you'll be tethered. Price is another practical concern. The SCAR 17 lands in the upper-tier price bracket, often pushing past the $3,000 mark. For many buyers, the question becomes whether the combination of a 360Hz screen, desktop-grade GPU, and a 17-inch chassis is worth that investment compared to building a desktop that could deliver similar performance for less. The answer hinges on how much you value portability. If you need a machine that can sit on a desk at home but also be moved to a LAN party or a friend's house, the laptop saves you the hassle of hauling a tower and monitor. If you already have a solid desktop, the SCAR 17 may feel like overkill. Who should buy it? Think of serious gamers who play competitive titles at high refresh rates, content creators who edit 4K footage on the fly, or anyone who wants a desktop-class GPU in a form factor that can still be carried between rooms. It also